What is going on, everybody? I am back with another conversation with a guest we had on before, whose movie I really enjoyed, The Comic Shop. Welcome, Jonathan Bowen. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, thanks for having me again. Doing pretty well.
Absolutely. I saw on social media that you're going to be taking a vacation soon to catch up on your video games. What games do you have stacked up?
My wife actually just got me some game for Easter. It just came out, but I can't remember. It was on PlayStation, and it was like it's like after a nuclear bomb goes off in some city. I don't know if that rings a bell or not, but because I'm forgetting the name, but it sounds like up my alley. And then I think it was like what is that? Like Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. That sounded
Oh,
that
okay.
sounded good too. So many others though, like even stuff that I started and got like 2 hours into. Generation Zero, I think, was one of them. Which seemed all right. Like honestly seemed a little overly difficult, or I'm just not very good at it. But
Are you a PlayStation gamer then?
usually Xbox, but I'll play both. I mean, I have them both, and I've got one close friend who's only PlayStation, and one close friend who's only Xbox. And I think like another pretty good, casual friend, he's on Xbox. So they've been playing Sea of Thieves like every night, but I've just been busy, and so I keep seeing the group texts, and I'm like, oh, soon, guys, soon. Keep sailing the seas for me though.
Nice. Yeah, I'm an Xbox gamer too. I love Game Pass, but I also like the PlayStation Network thing that they have
Yeah,
because
when
they
it's
put
not
all their
down.
Sony stuff on there. But yeah, that's fair. Or they're giving out credit card numbers, but
I
yeah.
know, exactly. Yeah, it's really funny. I'm not really I'm not like a console wars person just because I've always had both. Because I've always had friends on both. But that also makes it extremely annoying. Like when I was a huge Destiny gamer before it took over my life and I had to eventually boot it to the curb. I remember that season one I got Seasons of Triumph or whatever, year of Triumph, whatever it was, on both Xbox and PlayStation. So I had like fully leveled Guardians on both consoles because I ended up having a couple of friends that played on each. And it got so confusing to me because I would have to think to myself, all right, wait, which my Titan has it, but on the PS5 or X? I can't remember. I'll have to log in and look at it. And it's like, have I done the weekly challenge? And no, that's right. I did that on this character on the Xbox, but not the other character on the PlayStation. Okay. Video games
Yeah,
can be intense sometimes.
it reminds me of my friend on WoW, different servers and so forth. But what's the journey been like? Because now the movie's coming out.
Yeah. Well, it's been long. I mean, like a lot of different shows promoting it and, usually attempting to stay, I don't know, somewhat on topic, but some podcasts by nature are not really that way, which is fun too. But then I end up kind of leaning into it and every once in a while saying things that are like, totally random or off the rails. And it's been fun, like with all the people that we know seeing the movie. Um, I mean, even people I don't really know, like, I don't know, my wife's health coach or some family friend of my wife, who checks it out. And so it's kind of fun to get people's, feedback. Um, of course you have to, with anything that you put into the world, you have to be okay with the commentary you get that honestly, it makes you want to pull your hair out. I mean, it's like basic things where you read it and you're like, yeah, that wasn't a mistake. Like that was intentional. In fact, it was thought through for hundreds of hours before this ever was a twinkle in any production's design. It was like those kinds of things where like usually I've been on both sides. So when there's script elements, I've probably written it both ways or five ways, and then ultimately chosen the way that we went with. So you have to stand behind it on one hand, and two, as a creator, like your art has to stand on its own. If somebody doesn't like something, it's their right not to like it. I mean, that's the way that it goes. But it doesn't mean that at the same time as a creator, might not be frustrated. Like, oh, but we put this and that and the other thing that was supposed to give you the hint that, oh, forget it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I get feedback all the time for doing the podcast. I don't mind I don't mind negative comments. They don't bother me. I've got thick skin. I can handle it. It's just when they say you suck, when there's no like constructiveness behind it. It's like, just give me something that I can like, latch onto and maybe learn from or build from. Don't just tell me it sucks. Tell me why you think it sucks.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Something more actionable or constructive. And granted, I can't change the movie, but like I do think the most head scratching comment from a review is that the movie is at its best when it focuses on Mike and Brandon's relationship. And I just wish that there was more of that. And I'm like, the entire movie is that. Like, that's almost every scene in the movie. I mean, there's a couple of scenes, I guess, where like Brandon's with his mom, with his dad or something like that. And Mike's on his own. Yeah, he doesn't live at the comic store. But at the same time, like, I'd have to go through and count. I bet you it's 85% of the scenes or something within a minute. So, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's comments like that where you're like, well, okay. I mean, I guess you're entitled to your opinion, but it's not really correct. But okay.
Yeah, the movie I would think is all about their relationship. And the only reason you see him at home is because the relationship with Mike is impacting the relationship at home and making it better.
Right.
So it needs to be there because it shows character growth. So I don't understand that one either.
It's odd. I read this review. So we went and saw Drop on Sunday night, which I thought it was a good, well done little thriller. I mean, maybe it has some conveniences and contrivances, but like I enjoyed it. So I saw this one critic who will go nameless say that Drop really like ruins its romance plot with the emphasis on thriller and mystery elements. And I'm like, but Drop is a thriller. Like it's 90% thriller. The romance is only a bookend. It didn't even really exist. Like the lady had to go on a date just to set up the whole plot where her, son gets kidnapped. Like there's no romance in the movie.
If anybody watched that trailer and goes into this movie expecting a romance, I don't know what trailer you watched. It was not for this movie because everything about the trailer screams the opposite of romance.
Right? Like I was just reading that, like, but there isn't a fully fledged romance in the movie. It's a first date. Like how would you, if you lost the thriller elements, you lost the movie and why it got greenlit in the first place. So it's like these really weird things like that. But just to like switch subjects, because I know you're hopefully also excited. Man, I was just geeking out this morning, like reading all the reviews of Andor season 2, which I've been so excited about since the first one came to an end. And I mean, these reviews were like, it was insane. It was like hypnotized. I'm like one of the greatest shows on television, one of the best shows of the decade, A+. I mean, there are literally more reviews that are 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 4 than imperfect reviews. I think 70% of them are like perfect scores. And so I'm like super excited to watch the season. But then I also kind of thinking like, yeah, I think the Emmy for this year has been spoken for. Actually, a number of them have been, it seems like. Unless Last of Us Season 2 can really crush it, which, no spoilers, but it's definitely off to a dramatic start.
Episode 2 brought it. Episode 1 was kind of slow, but episode 2 made up for all of it. And
I know.
Acting, oh my God, so phenomenal.
Yeah, it's so true. Well, it's funny because I'm not sure if you agree, but after seeing episode 1, I said this right away to my wife. I said, this may have been an example of where you wanted to drop the first 2 episodes of the new season. Like, because this first episode was really slow. And I could see somebody who's not really into it just kind of forgetting about it or going, oh, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it was slow. But that second episode and like the action, especially, just that looked higher budget than like any zombie movie besides like World War Z or something like that. I mean, I couldn't believe the action sequences are insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really good. We'll see what happens. But so what was the process of getting it to actually come out now? Because you were trying to find a distributor when we last talked, and now we're there.
Right. So that's kind of the issue is, yes, we have a distributor and they're doing the best they can. So this isn't anything negative, but what ends up happening with these things is like, there's a whole backstory that I didn't really understand, where it kind of was like this distributor had said, hey, you know, you guys go out, try to find another company. If you don't, because of one of my producers' connections with them, they'll take our movie, and they can be like the, you know, last resort or whatever. Well, we didn't really go out to that many other companies anyway. And so we ended up sort of going with them, and they said, okay, you know, they generously took it. And then they approached the streamers, and the guy who's like head of the company, or well, not, he's head of acquisitions for the company, and he's like our connection. He said that the streamers passed, like they all passed. He said they likely never watched the movie because they don't. Like he said, they're looking for like female skewing thrillers is kind of what's big, unless it's going to be like a Christmas movie. You know, those do really well for them, you know, later in the year, obviously. But, you know, he said they're not even really acquiring horror anymore because there's too much out there. And the old, you know, the action movies that are just like that we used to grow up with, straight to DVD action films. I don't know, Jean-Claude Van Damme or something like that. Chuck Norris. These things are not hitting the way that they used to either. And he said it's very much like a female dominated market right now. I don't know what that means. I don't know if like, are all of us guys, are we just playing video games and watching sports? I mean, I do a lot of that, so I don't know. But so then what ends up happening is that the answer is not necessarily no. The answer is not right now. So that's why the movie is going to be on like 10 free streaming services May 10, which, you know, I'll be honest, I was not very happy with, because, you know, Tubi is stereo sound. The movies are loaded with commercials. I think it's a great thing that it exists. Like, I'm pro Tubi, but like not for me. Like it's more of like how nice it is to have some option for people who don't have a bunch of money to spend on entertainment and want to be able to see this large catalog that Tubi has. It's great. They've got so much on there. It's amazing. But I didn't spend an absolute fortune on 2 separate 7.1 systems so that I can be watching movies in stereo like it's 1985. Like, you know, and I didn't spend 50 grand on our sound package for, you know, for a comic shop so that can be the case either. And even my first movie we did almost 15 years ago, it was a cheaper surround package, but I still think it cost me like 15 grand to do. And we spent a lot on just the audio itself, and then another 15 grand to get the 5.1. So it's just kind of frustrating that that's probably the reality of how most people will see the comic shop is on Tubi or, I have a list of them, but I hadn't even heard of 6 of these. Like, I've heard of like, was it Tubi, Freebie? I don't know how to say that. XUMO, is that Exumo or something? I'm not sure how you say that. But then the other ones I'd never even heard of. So I guess that the plan is just to build traction through those free AVOD platforms, and then hope that there's a way to get it on, you know, one of the quote unquote real streamers down the road. I know.
Well, the good news is free is Amazon, so
that's right.
It'll go through there. But I mean, Tubi's pretty big, so hopefully a lot of people check it out.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I think it's like one of those honestly sucky things where, like, between the last time and this time, it's like the reality is that I don't really have much hope of getting the budget back or anything close to it, because, you know, I think it's something like 10 cents per view on Tubi if like somebody finishes the movie. And I mean, I don't know, don't quote me on that, but I've heard from a lot of other indie filmmakers, and even if I'm wrong and it's 15 cents, okay. Then you're looking at like needing 20 million people to watch the movie. That's pretty that's tough. There's 97 million Tubi subscribers, I think, as of last month. So maybe they all discover it, but you know, probably not. So, but I think you can still have some hope that it gets out there and that, you know, a lot of people see it. And like you said, also, it is nice that Freevee is integrated with Amazon. So if somebody does see it on Amazon and wants to give us a review that's helpful, like my distributor did say that goes a long way, apparently. Like, I don't know, it matters to Amazon's algorithm or something like that. Besides that, there's interesting things that happen that I hope it's not supposed to be private information, because I believe this is, people know this, but like, I guess I hadn't thought about it very much. So one thing that came out of the discussion was that sometimes the streamers will take other movies that they don't want, like they don't have any interest in, just to get something else they do. So when they were doing the deal for a certain movie, I probably shouldn't say the movie, but it's a movie with a big director and a A-list star. Then the streaming service was able to be talked into taking 5 smaller movies with it. So it was kind of like, look, we'll give you this movie, but yeah, you're going to have to take these other 5. And, the streamer's like, okay, all right. So, because imagine if the deal was like, we'll give you $5 million for this, and the counter offer is give us $6 million, but we'll give you 6 movies. Then they're like, all right, I guess, yeah, what's $1 million, Oh, well. So I think there's that kind of like, I know that sounds funny, but there's that funny hope that we are one of the smaller movies that's packaged with something bigger. And, that would be nice as a filmmaker, just to at least have it out there, because I know that's how most of us experience most of our content. Like, we have a lot of streaming services, we open them up, we look and see what's new or what we haven't seen before. And that's how I watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, same. And we talked about this last time. You never know what's going to hit. So hopefully that happens for you, where, they pick up the 5 smaller movies, because they don't even know. One of those smaller movies could hit it huge, and then they'd have the next, big thing.
Yeah. And, I think I'm surprised that they wouldn't give us more of a chance, I guess. I mean, that maybe they saw the trailer, but I guess I'm surprised only because I don't think our movie is something that is very off-putting to anybody. Like, it's got a nice positive message. And even with all the things that are out there, like, not one person, critic or otherwise, has said, oh, this is a terrible movie, this is a bad movie. The worst we've gotten is like, it's fine, it's okay, and it's like, I can live with that. Like, it's not for everyone, that's fine. And then you're gonna have your people who are like, I really like this movie is really fun, it's right up my alley. And so if we're existing in that range of like, at worst you thought it was okay, and at best you really liked it, like, I don't know, it could be worse. There's a lot of stuff out there where the best is like, it was fine, and then the worst is like, biggest piece of crap I've ever seen. Like, that's the kind of thing it's hard to get over if you see that. So you're right, you don't know what's going to hit. And I think that there's more of us than they are understanding. It's like, we had this trailer that comes out and we did amazing numbers. I mean, for a while there, like, we had more trailer views than big movies that had come out. Like, they put their trailer up, like, no one cared. And then our trailer was crushing them. So that's kind of why I guess I got this false sense of confidence, because I thought, well, there seem to be a lot of people out there who are interested in what the subject matter is, and that should be good, right? We should be able to turn that into something. And then I kind of felt like the game was actually already over, and I just was still standing there and didn't know it. Almost like, I don't know, we'd already struck out or something. But it's sad, because I guess that the streamers just don't have the time or resources maybe to watch everything that isn't funneled through, like, let's say they go find it at Sundance or Cannes or something like that. Which I was curious, have you seen a movie called Funny Pages that went to Cannes?
No, I have not. I've heard of it, though. I have not seen it.
So this thing got referenced on The Studio, which I love The Studio. It's really funny so far with Seth Rogen, and then the director made a cameo, and like, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't get it. Like, I saw that movie or when we were early on making ours, and in my opinion, I was like, I don't see this as competition at all. Like, this, It's just, it wasn't for me. Like, it was kind of dark. It was kind of depressing. It didn't look particularly well produced. And it goes to Cannes, gets picked up A24. And then here's the director on the studio. I couldn't believe it because of all the movies that I did not want to see referenced. That's the only one that I can think. Like, I didn't care about anything else, you know? And I'm not usually like very jealous or envious, but that was one where I was like, no, none of the viewers have even seen this movie. Like, why is it even being referenced? And you know, it's like, because it's similar to what we did in a way, but I think quite different, really. But it, you know, Funny Pages, Comic Shop, okay, it's like in the same universe. And then to see this reference and there's the director, I'm like, man, I'm just trying to have a Friday night where I'm enjoying my entertainment and not thinking about my own movie. And this guy has to come on, you know, but I mean, good for him. Seriously. Good for him that he's, you know, had that success. It would be pretty fun.
Yeah, that's real. I really like the movie, and I've been telling everybody that they need to go check it out. Like Jesse Metcalf followed. I help a convention company called Decade Days, and he recently followed them. And I'm like, I'm about to interview the director of his new movie, which is awesome. You guys need to go watch it. And yeah, like this movie has a good message, and I'm living it right now. Like, it's never too late to follow your dreams. Like like I said, working for a convention company, I became their official host / MC a couple of weeks ago, and that's something I've always wanted to do, and I never really chased it until last November. I finally was like, you know what? I want to show my kids that it's never too late to do anything, and then seeing your movie helped also motivate. And
I love that. You know, thank you so much, because that's like what it is about for me at this point. You know, like, I don't know if this is going to lead somewhere else. All I know is that the work that I created has to be fulfilling, you know, and what makes it that isn't just like having made it, but having, you know, your group of people out there who were like, I really liked what you did, you know, like, I enjoyed this. And so I really appreciate that, just because I think, I don't know about you, but sometimes we have a tendency to pick out the negative. Like, I could probably read 5 good reviews and 1 bad one and not even remember the good ones. I'd just be stewing over the comments made in the bad one. And it's probably human nature. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why we do that. But you know, that's why it's so nice to hear things like that and see, just like, sometimes in social media, you see some random person who's shared it and said, hey, I like this movie. And I'm like, that's great. That's why I make movies, like, so that someone can enjoy them, you know?
Yeah, he was just on Law and Order, and I'm like, oh, I hope he's out there promoting this movie too while he's doing the Law and Order rounds. But right. So what's next for you? You got an idea?
He did a good job on that. You know, I'm like really I'm like really ADD right now, so I'm kind of all over the board, even though I'm not usually like this. But I think it's because since I don't really know what I'm doing, like, I don't know if this is going to lead anywhere or how to even translate it from finished product to, like, you know, a next opportunity. I'm focusing on a couple of things. Like, I know I'm not done, like, just because I'm stubborn. So, you know, there's an element where I'm like also thinking, you know, I don't know, maybe I go off and make some little feature. Like, I know people say this is little. It's not that little. There's a good amount of money behind it to get, you know, name actors. But I have a friend, MJ, who did a movie that I like for like $70,000. And I've seen really good movies like that at festivals. So I'm at least trying to, like, come up with a script that I would really like, something that's like unapologetically me, and be able to do it with a tiny crew, you know, like an 8 to 12 kind of person crew. Work with some actors that I know. I've got friends who are actors, and they don't move the needle for distributors. I don't care, because nothing seems to move the needle with them. Like, you get Jesse Metcalf on KCBS, KTLA, E, Access Hollywood, Tristan Mays from MacGyver, 5 seasons. They don't care. It doesn't matter, because they're only interested in like 5 people. It's like, it's Jenna Ortega, Glenn Powell, Nah, that's only 2, but that's basically what I'm getting. Pedro Pascal, okay, he's in everything, but they get hyper fixated, and then it just becomes like it's all about that instead of the quality of the product, which it makes me think: does anyone realize that everybody was a nobody once? I mean, there was a time when every single person is your favorite actor was a nobody. So it's kind of one of those things where I'd love to make something that's purely for the love of the art, where I'm just like, yeah, it'll probably lose the money or it'll end up on Tubi or whatever, and that's fine. That's the fate I intend for a project. And then get to go off and kind of just do something really fun and creative and artistic without really having any of that pressure that I felt on this one. And I've had it happen on both movies. Like both the movies, I felt a lot of pressure, kind of wondering what would happen if it doesn't get where I need it to go. But I know even if I'm being sort of ADD and there's this and that and the other thing, the one thing you can't do wrong is to write scripts, because it's all based on a script. So I've got, 5 other scripts lying around. One of them I really want to polish. It is a thriller. I have spent 20 drafts polishing it already, but I've learned a little bit more about the industry since I wrote it, and the way that funds are raised. So there's a character in it who I think I would need to beef up a little bit. Like he's got to be in the movie, I don't know, 10, 12 minutes to get the interest of somebody like a Nicolas Cage, where Nick comes aboard, $1 million, 2 days, film him out. You're getting your funding based on that name, and then you fill out the cast with other people. Like maybe your lead is a Jesse Metcalf or a Stephen Dorff or something like that. Those are the kind of projects that are like have a chance to get the green light and like funding off the ground, but you have to also somehow meet the right people. I know some of these people like through different connections, but could I actually get into that point to pitch them or send them a script? I don't know. I do know that I don't intend to give up.
You can't make a Star Wars Hallmark Christmas.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. I have that DVD around somewhere. My friend, it's bootleg.
It's kind of rough, right? Looking at a bakery and somebody comes in to take over the bakery and Ray falls in love and rediscovers the Force. It could be great. You got this.
That is so funny. Like it's so funny because like my mind, when it's like working on ideas, like I came up with some idea last night. It's not like startlingly original, but it was something AI based. And I thought it was kind of a relationship AI based, like her with a significant twist. But then every once in a while, my mind just totally betrays me and will just like come up with an idea that is not productive, but it just makes me chuckle. Like I had this idea of like filming a short film with it's like the board of Netflix, a bunch of people at Netflix just sitting around at a table, just talking about like stupid ideas and anything good pitched. Like what I would do is have something pitched that's like The Usual Suspects, and everyone groans and like, oh, that sounds like a loser. And then like somebody else suggests something that's really similar to Citizen Kane, and I'm like, boring. No, I don't think people would like that. He's like, wait, a turtle befriends a goose. I'm like, it's brilliant, greenlit immediately, And it's so like my mind is coming up with this whole short film about like how things really work at the streamers. And I was like, I know it's just a purely out of spite little idea, but I do think we always sometimes like we watch this original content and sometimes we're like, okay, who decided like the Electric State, 320 million. That's a lot of money for what that is. I mean, very talented directors, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, I've not heard good things about Electric State, which is a shame because I like everybody involved.
Me too. I really do. And I actually I feel bad now because honestly, that was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. It wasn't all just theatrical, but going to movies the last few days. So we also went to see The Amateur last night, which I really liked. I thought it was fun. I thought it was like I know the critics didn't love it, but I'm almost surprised by that because I thought it was like a thinking man's John Wick or something. Like, not to say it's not as good as John Wick, but it has that element of like, oh, it's a revenge movie, but without like a huge body count or a guy who's like Jason Statham level, badass or whatever. And so just seeing the trailers, I'm like, man, there's a lot of big stuff this year between like the new Jurassic World, new Mission Impossible, Final Destination, Bloodlines, and then so many other movies that are maybe not quite at that level, but I'm excited about. And now I'm seeing Sinners tomorrow night. Vegas Golden Knights playoff game tonight, so I can't see it tonight, but I can't wait to see it tomorrow.
I can't wait to see Sinners. I might go see that this weekend. They just dropped the I Know What You Did Last Summer trailer. Did you watch that?
Oh, I didn't see that yet. Okay. I heard that was coming. Boy, that brings back memories from high school.
It's got Scream vibes, which I guess the originals kind of did, but it's going to be cool to see Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt back on a big screen. I like Freddie Prinze Jr. quite a bit, especially his podcasting Afterlife.
Did I tell you the last time that we offered the role to Freddie Prinze Jr.? Like he was probably probably the politest decline. I could be wrong, but I'm trying to rack my brain. I think that Jesse was the next offer and then accepted. Freddie was really sweet though. Like I don't know. From other people, you don't hear anything. Like you just hear the agent comes back, the answer's no, or he passed or whatever. And Freddie Prinze Jr. just said something about like he thought it was really sweet and he was honored to be considered for the role, but like the timing just wasn't good for him because of something family related. It seemed sincere, and I don't know. You never know, but I was like, oh, that's cool. Like. And so he was one of the people like who passed on the role where you're not like, oh man, like how dare he pass? You're like, oh, okay, it just didn't work out. Like that's cool. And
he talked about it on his podcast a lot. He's like, I don't need to act anymore. So anything, my family's always first. So if I have to do something for my family, that's why he stepped back and did voiceover for so long, because let his wife work and he just stayed home. He seems like a really nice guy, and I get to meet him in November because he's coming to our show, and I'm super excited because I like Freddie Prinze. I love his podcast, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. He just seems really nice and sweet and down to earth, and I think that's what it was. It was like a family thing. It was just the timing just didn't work for that. And he was in the movie A Girl in the Pool. That my distributor also released, and my casting director cast that movie. So Micah Giovanni, who plays Brandon, has like a really like a scene stealing performance with Freddie, and he's so good. I think it's just 2 or 3 scenes, but like a great little role for him. So it was cool for me. Like I'm not the biggest fan of that movie, to be totally frank. I don't want to lie to anyone, but like I did like seeing Freddie Prinze Jr. in it, and I love seeing Micah, and it was just kind of cool. Like all the connections, like, oh, this is my distributor also. Like I got to support this movie, So, but it fits the genre, like female skewing thriller.
Yeah, The Girl by the Pool was a Lifetime movie with better acting. But yeah, no, I'm the same way. I wasn't a huge fan, but there were moments in it that, were better than most things made in that genre.
Right. Exactly. You're right. It was like like slightly more prestige Lifetime. The editor on the comic shop, my friend Jeremy, who, I consider a friend because he started as my corporate editor way back. He was our first corporate editor for JLB Media Productions, and he worked with us for about 5 years. And then he left at one of the annual meetings and said, guys, it's been really fun, but I want to go pursue feature editing, documentaries, bigger stuff. And of course I was a little jealous and a little frustrated because he's such a good editor. I knew he was going to be hard to replace. But I told him at the meeting, I said, one day I'll direct another movie and I'll hire you to edit. And he was like, well, I look forward to that day. And that day came with the comic shop. because by that point in time he had done 8 or 9 features, and I knew he was ready to do it. So he edits a lot of Lifetime movies. I don't know, like it's just his connections, like his director producer connections, happen to do that. So he just came off one that I think just finished, like I don't know, maybe a week ago or something like that. But yeah, they made it's so tight timeline. Like they made him be DIT on set. So that's like the person who, offloads all the footage, just for listeners, like gets all the data ready and makes sure that it's good so that you can move on, because once you leave a location, sometimes you've lost that location. So if the data is no good or corrupt or something, you got to know right then. And then they gave him a week to do the rough assembly before the director comes in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think we gave him a month on the comic shop. I can't believe a week turn. That's like some late nights and all that. But speaking of the DIT stuff, what I just said, I had it happen once. It was on the set of my first film. I think it was day 3, and it was a big scene. It was like, for us, for a small movie, it was a big bar scene. We had tons of extras. The lighting took forever. And we just wrapped the first part of the scene before we were going to move on to the other side of the bar. And we're all kind of like, we're kind of laughing and, oh, that was great. And we're talking. It's very casual. And, Henry or Gaffer's up there, like taking some lights down. And this is going on for about maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes. And our DIT's like, guys, wait, hold the work. And I'm like, who's he telling anyone to hold the work? DIT doesn't like have any power on set at all. And so then he's like, guys, the last card is corrupt. Like, I don't have any of the footage from the last like hour. And I'm like, oh, like we already had a 12-day shoot. You don't have spare hours to spend when you have so few days, and no studio funds or anything like that. So I remember just being so depressed about it. But you got to get over it, and like, you got to get over it immediately. And then somehow find the enthusiasm to go film what you already filmed, and it was already good. I just remember that being like, that was one of my low points on set, where I was like, gosh, movie making can be a real pain in the butt.
Well, everybody, check out the comic shop. Where can everybody find you online, Jonathan?
Oh, yeah. So I'm at Director Bowen on Instagram. And I also have directorbowen.com, which I need to update. But I do update pretty regularly with blog posts about like the various interviews I've done and media articles, anything like that might be of interest. So
nice. Yeah, nice. We need to get you on the live show to geek out with us, everybody. I'll put the descriptions for everything down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.